the all-new vibe, Houston's culture, evolution of KTSU 90.9. Michele McKnight here, and it is Women Crushing It Wednesday, which means that we have got another dope female that is joining me on the show, very influential, and I'm happy to have you here, especially in this heightened time that we know is COVID-19.
Right.
Being that you bring awareness to healthcare specifically for women, and different alternatives, not just always going, just the scientific method, but looking at other ways to do that. And people obviously are very health conscious right now.
Exactly.
With a pandemic going on, but there also are things that people should take into consideration every day, basically, when it comes to their health. And so we have LaShanna Moore here on the show today.
Thank you.
And I want you to just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got into the line of work that it was and what really inspired it.
Absolutely. So thank you, first of all, for having me here. I'm so hyped to be here on Women Crushing It Wednesday. My name, again, is LaShanna Moore. So I am a nutritionist and a holistic health practitioner, newly become filmmaker as of 2020. And I got into this space really by personal experience. My first degree actually was dance and theater. And I was preparing for a Toronto tour. It was a Canadian tour. Hired a personal trainer. Long story short, ended up misfacilitating an exercise and ruptured my Achilles tendon.
Oh, wow.
And after rehab and surgery and all of that, I got into nutrition, for muscle atrophy. And once I got better with that, then I got into personal training. And then a few years after that, being diagnosed with fibroids and PCOS, that led me back to school for wellness and holistic health. And so it's been a personal journey, which definitely connects me with being able to understand women. And so that's what my practice is all about. We deal with various areas that a lot of women struggle with the most, particularly Black women and then women of color, because there is a separation with that. Educating them and empowering them, and then also elevating this conversation on more than just the traditional platforms, which is why I decided to go into film. I don't like man-made rules when my purpose was divinely appointed.
Amen.
So I was like, this is bigger than a blog. It's bigger than a post. This is bigger than a webinar. We're doing a film.
And LaShanna
and
is
that's
doing
what we
that.
did. That's what we did.
And we're going to tap into that docu-series that it is that you're going to have soon coming out here, of course. So we'll have lots more here with LaShanna here on the all-new vibe, Houston's culture. It's Women Crushing It Wednesday. Michele McKnight here on this Women Crushing It Wednesday on the all-new vibe, Houston's culture, powered by KTSU 90.9. LaShanna. I'm going to get it right.
Yes,
I keep wanting to say LaShanna and mispronounce it every way, even though she stared at me. I saw her give me the eye, she kind of wanted to take me out. But I'm happy to have you here in studio.
Thank you, Michele.
You are a person that is out here promoting wellness for women, especially for Black women.
Yes.
You're an author.
Yes,
You're an entrepreneur. You're now well, I guess we can't say movie producer, but you still are working in a projection side, but it all is for a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
And you have a docu-series that you officially have launched the trailer for. I saw it. It's very powerful, very impactful.
Thank you.
Basically talking about women just taking back their own rights and having, a say over their own bodies.
Right.
And it's called Black Bodice. So I would love to talk to you about that. Where did the name come from, first of all?
Right. So it's Black Bodice, which represents Black Body Goddess. I wanted a unique name that represented all of us, our history, where we come from, as well as who we have learned ourselves to be today, like who we've become and walking into our purpose, from trauma to triumph. And for me, no other word really defined that than the word bodice, BODDESS. So put the two together. I wanted, something that I hadn't heard before. And I checked around, and so, decided when I talked to my director about it, we both agreed, let's do Black Bodice.
Yeah. And we'll be sure to post that trailer, too, on our Instagram at The Vibe Houston.
Great.
But it almost seemed like it was going to be touching on different topics, just, things that historically Black women just kind of have had to battle, like fibroids, for example.
Right.
I know several people, several friends, several colleagues, several family members who, deal with that, just recently found out that they had it, even in their 30s.
Yeah.
And so is this going to be something that is around roundtable discussion like each week? How are you going to have your docuseries formatted?
Yeah.
And when can people expect to see more of it?
Absolutely. So we hosted a safe, socially distanced film premiere November the 22nd at the studio. And then we also had a live stream available on our Facebook page. So the public release is going to be February the 3rd, and that's where it will be distributed on live streaming platforms. So people will be able to watch it there. And it's a combination. It's a thrilling, invigorating, very heavy ride. So it was inspired by my mom. My mom passed this year. And she was the only person, thank you. She was the only person that I had talked to about wanting to do something like this. And it's something interesting about what a life-changing experience like that will do. Like it really provoked my urgency. And so it's a combination of stories and interviews and roundtable discussions. We have Black female historians, Black physicians, Black women who are telling their story. I'm sharing my story. So it gives the viewer like a well-rounded ride and experience of so many different aspects. Undeniable that this is the Black woman's story. We're not being dramatic. This is not about hype. This is what we're going through, and this is the proof.
Layers. And you're
layers.
laying it all out.
Yes.
And we're going to peel them all down.
Yes, we are peeling them.
Yeah, so Black Bodice. Again, be on the lookout for that. You said that it's coming out in February.
Yes.
So we'll keep you posted on that. And again, we'll be sure to post that trailer to our Instagram as well at The Vibe Houston. But we're going to have more with LaShanna Moore here.
There you go.
Crushing It Wednesday coming up. So keep those radios turned on and up right here to The Vibe Houston. Special guest in the studio, LaShanna Moore, here on this Woman Crushing It Wednesday. Michele McKnight's here. It's the all-new Vibe. And just remember that if there's ever a woman of influence that you recognize in the Houston area that is doing something to implement positivity while being successful at the same time, because ultimately life is all about doing well for yourself so you can do good for others, you can always nominate them up at vibehouston.com. And I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Navigating through COVID-19 and then also having to be health conscious because you, of course, want to practice what you preach.
Right.
How do you live your life and stay sane?
Girl.
Especially in a city like Houston where everybody is functioning as if COVID never existed.
Listen, Houston is over it. Okay? So
they never tapped into
right.
it.
This is like, you know what? It is what it is. We're going to do what we're going to do. It has definitely been an adjustment, but I do all of the CDC regulations. I think also being in the health and the medical space, I'm tested every 2 weeks. I'm able to provide testing like for the crew and those who are around me. I try to just adhere to it. Like filming was very interesting. You know, we had to do rotations and the scheduling and the locations and how many people we were going to be working with at a time. And even with the live premiere, having scanning and all of that stuff, you know, social distancing the chairs. It takes a lot more intention. It takes intention to be out and try to enjoy ourselves because honestly, that's the matrix of who we are. But really being conscious, trying to stay conscious. I pack everything. And I was doing that before COVID. So my husband is like, oh, Lord. Is definitely on 10 now.
Do you ever go out to restaurants or do
every
anything social?
now and then? Every now and then. We have to do something. But I think as a creative, too, it pushes me to try to figure out, okay, how can we enjoy ourselves differently right now and still be safe? So we've kind of ventured out. When I say we, talking about my husband and I or my smaller tribe. I don't hang with everybody anymore, but my smaller tribe. What can we do, you know, to enjoy each other safely? Like creativity has been the thing.
Yeah, it
and
really
safety.
has. But I think that it's brought a lot more out. People have tapped into stuff maybe that they were thinking about doing for the longest time, but just kept putting it off because they were busy. But ultimately use COVID-19 as a silver lining and started a business.
So
or
many people
spend more time with their family, which that's really important too. And I think it's important too for people to remember that even though you may not have been directly affected by COVID-19, someone else has. And a lot of people have lost people this year, or just people have fallen really ill and they're suffering the consequences after the fact. So
absolutely,
that's always something to keep in mind. But yeah, I love always asking people in healthcare because you are still human at the end of the day, you do want to have a sense of existence.
You have to. It's crazy. Like the plant sales are up. Pet adoption rates have skyrocketed this year. Like you said, people are, stepping out and creating and doing things that they had put on hold. It definitely shifts your perspective of time. Relationships, all of these things we're seeing. So there's some silver linings.
Yeah, but still be safe and wear your mask and have your antibacterial hand soap and hand sanitizer on you.
I don't. Do you hug?
I do hug. I'm a hugger. I'm not even gonna lie. I can't front. Yeah,
it's hard not to. In general, I don't. Again, my immediate circle. And then I don't, like now I think we have to be cautious because everybody has a different comfort level now. So instead of assuming that someone wants a hug, you kind of have to ask them, okay, how can I greet you?
Yeah. It's also a good excuse, though, for those people that kind of repel you. You can just kind of turn the other cheek.
Give them the shoulder.
Well, it's Women Crushing It Wednesday. Again, we have LaShanna here in studio. We're still going to check back in with her, so make sure to keep those radios locked in. Turn on and up here to the all-new vibe. It's Houston's Culture and the evolution of KTSU 90.9. It's the evolution of KTSU 90.9, the all-new vibe, Houston's Culture. Michele McKnight's here with LaShanna Moore, my guest for Women Crushing It Wednesday. So we've been talking. Did I say it wrong again? LaShanna. Right. LaShanna.
That's it. You got it.
I get to talking fast.
Right.
I get to talking fast, and she looked at me like, girl, you don't get it together. LaShanna. It's all love, though. Please don't take it as disrespect.
I don't. Trust me, I
don't. So we've been talking about COVID-19. We're talking about healthcare. We're talking about being in control of our bodies, not just as a woman, but as a Black woman.
Right.
So with this drug that is now coming on to the scene that we don't really know what the end result is going to be with taking it and with vaccinating children. Is this something that you are going to tap into when 2021 rolls around?
I am definitely hesitant. First of all, as Black people, we have a reason to be hesitant from history. Black bodies were subjects and experiments, and there is a such thing as medical apartheid. So Black people definitely have a right to be hesitant. I am not so quick to jump on the bandwagon. Typically, just from a virology perspective, it takes time for vaccines to really mature and to develop properly. But I'm gonna be on the observance.
Do you get a flu shot regularly?
No,
I don't either.
I don't. And that was a challenge with doing some of the work that I do now with with other entities outside of my own practice was whether or not I would comply with that. So that took a little bit of advocating because I just don't. I think living with a strong immune system, if you practice that as a lifestyle, and environment is major. I've lived in other places outside of Houston. Environment is major. My body would respond to environments differently. But no. No.
That's the short answer.
Yeah, I'll be on the fence for that one.
No, we won't go.
We're not ready to do
It's a really sensitive topic. I noticed even with, I hardly ever get to watch TV, but when I do watch TV, it's typically Grey's Anatomy, which just, came back on air a few weeks ago. And that's all that they have been addressing this season is the pandemic. And Shonda Rhimes has made a really big point to hone in. I don't know if you watched the show.
I'm so glad that they're focusing on that.
They are, and they're not just focusing on COVID-19, but they're focusing on all of the layers to it, and the fact that it's, of course, impacted minority environments the most, very heavily in the Black community as well. And I've noticed that they have made a point to mention that in every single episode of this season. And Miranda Bailey, who has been on the show forever, like her mom dying from COVID-19 on there. And it's just like every time someone deals with something, they just keep saying, man, and I just keep seeing all the Black people that come in here and all the Black women that are coming in here, because it really is something that's happening.
Right.
And so it makes you think twice just about a lot of things. And
it does.
And even with the vaccines and people's different takes on that, because I know some people that already have said, like, well, I refuse to have my kid go through something like this, and they're really sensitive to it because given history and the way that the medical field and scientists and vaccines and all of that is played, it never really has worked to our benefit.
Right.
So you say no, though. That's the
it's going to be a no for my household and I.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to open up that conversation, too. So chime into that on our Instagram at The Vibe Houston so we can talk about it, friends. One of my favorite days of the week, Women Crushing It Wednesday. Always get to have a special guest here in the studio for the all-new Vibe Houston's Culture, powered by KTSU 90.9. It's so many great women in the city of Houston. LaShanna, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to everything that you have to offer. I have some questions that I probably need to follow up with you on after we wrap things up here tonight.
For sure.
But again, you do have your documentary, Black Bodice, that is going to be coming out officially in February. So where can people tap in and follow you so that way they can get updates on the arrival of that?
Absolutely. So the website is Black Bodice Film, and it's the name across the board for every social media handle. Instagram is Black Bodice Film, and then we have a YouTube channel, which is actually Well Life TV, WELLLIFE TV. And then you can follow me on Instagram at LaShanna Leonard Moore.
And you do have your practice, too, for people to come in and they can, just kind of explore different holistic options and things like that, as opposed to just automatically going the standard route of medical. So if someone wants to come, if they have questions for any of that, would they just reach out to you directly on Instagram as well, or do you have a separate website for that? Yeah,
separate website. It's my name again, LaShannaLeonardMoore.com. We're ending the year with all virtual services, and we'll carefully resume a few in-person appointments for the beginning of the year, just based on the issue. But LaShanna Leonard Moore, you can find me.
And it is LaShanna.
It's LaShanna.
Make sure you pronounce my name correctly, because I've been mispronouncing it here all night.
You've been good, sis.
But thank you again so much. I appreciate you. Of course, again, we're going to share that trailer to our Instagram. We're also opening up that whole conversation about, will you tap into this COVID-19 vaccine? So be sure to chime in on that as well at The Vibe Houston. That's where you can find us. And again, if there's ever a woman of influence in the Houston area that you would like to nominate to come on Women Crushing It Wednesday, you can do so up at VibeHouston.com.